I think the big thing too, somebody like Tom, the strength of this dude, it's really, really important as a heavyweight to be freaking strong.
Like doing press-ups is really tough.
Fighters, wrestlers, boxers, this dude's huge. There's no reason for you to not be busting out pull-ups all the freaking time. Like genuinely, if there's anything that you want to do as a fighter, get the aerobic capacity up. Make sure you can hit 20 plus pull-ups. Make sure you can get 30 plus dips. Make sure you can do 20 to 30 clap push-ups at once. Make sure you can do 50 normal push-ups at once. We're gonna go over the training of one of the most athletic heavyweights ever in the UFC, Tom Aspinall, and we're gonna start right now. Okay, so yes, the eye poke just happened when he fought Cyril Gane. And I think that one thing we gotta bring up is first, the eye poke, it's unfortunate. I watched something from Henry Cejudo. A lot of you guys might hate Henry Cejudo, Triple C. A lot of you guys might love him. And one of the things he brought up is, one, there's more outrage around this eye poke because the actual card was just totally horrific. Okay, so before we go into the video, I just want to go and address the eye poke as quickly as possible. We're going to go into the video. We're going to talk about training as a combat fighter. We're going to see how Tom, one of the best ever, or one of the best out there right now, how he actually trains. When we're talking about fighting, you have to have crazy cardio. Okay, so if you're a fighter, you have to have endurance. So you got to have this baseline of endurance, but you also have to be able to have explosive endurance, right? So late in these fights, especially a championship bout, 5-minute rounds is brutal. You've got to have a good, strong endurance base. So I would recommend, in that case, long LSD work. You also have to be doing things like high intensity interval training. Okay, so you've got to be able to spike your heart rate, get your heart rate through the roof, like 180, 200, and then bring it down as easily as possible. And the other crazy aspect then is that you've got to be able to tap into the specific energy systems that can help you be as explosive as possible against, as a heavyweight, against an insane amount of force. Be fast, be agile. As a heavyweight, the strength, the explosiveness, the speed, the technical components are off the chart. It's one of the most technical sports that you can possibly do. You have to have that aerobic capacity. And so you have to plan and train this way and train that way to develop over a long period of time. And so Aspinall, he's 32 years old. So let's see what he's done, okay? Let's see how strong he is. Let's look at this. And then we're gonna go over some other takeaways for you guys that you can take from him and then look and be like, okay, these are applicable and this is how you can help yourself as a combat athlete. So he actually did, another Englishman training with Eddie Hall. I wanted to point out here, I actually wanted to go back because you could see, I want to say these are 50 kilos. Yeah.
Very nice. I think there's more there.
52.5K.
I reckon.
So there's like 115-pound dumbbells on that incline dumbbell bench. So what would that benefit? And I think first, as someone who's trained a two-time world bronze medalist, Nick Wazowski, in freestyle wrestling, I've worked with over 7 All-Americans just with South Dakota State's wrestling program that doesn't even include 3 other All-Americans in the NCAA for Division I wrestling. I've always thought about getting extremely strong, okay? So minimizing hypertrophic gains, but increasing strength gains as much as possible. And there's this fine line between increasing muscle mass, increasing strength, okay? I like to play the line over here of increasing strength as well as I possibly can with minimal muscle mass gains, because that can have a negative impact over time on your endurance. In this case, we're looking at maybe we're doing a triple or a set of 5. That's not going to get you crazy hypertrophic, but it will help with his explosiveness. It will help with his pummeling ability. So when you're looking at a dumbbell incline bench, shoulder stability, pec strength, tricep strength, lockout strength.
Back on the video, now you've done 50.
Right, not
52.
52.
52s. I didn't look back at the video. Tommy only did 40s. I'm sorry.
So those are 52.5 or 52s.
Feel very hard. Well, if I could do these 57s.
Okay, so 57s, we're looking at like 125s. And the interesting part is that a lot of fighters, a lot of wrestlers don't like to lift.
Strongest smelling salt.
And I've always sort of been like, it never really fully makes sense. Because if you're going against an opponent who's tying up, you're pushing back and forth, if you can move more load, or you can create more force faster, if you can recruit faster, so it's 126 pounds. Let's watch this quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it helps having Eddie Hall there.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes,
There's a sign there that says don't drop the dumbbells. 5 reps there on dumbbell incline is...
57.5.
Dude, 5 reps at dumbbell incline at 125, 126 pounds, that's solid. That's really, really freaking solid. And I think that just shows the shoulder strength, shoulder stability, pec strength. And these are things that will help you with your pummeling, right? And this, going back to my argument, is that if I'm going against a fighter and I can apply more force than the fighter, if I can move him the way that I'm thinking about moving him, or defend him easier because I have more explosiveness, I have more strength, that will pay off for me long term. Okay, now we have to understand that there's a point of diminishing returns where it could have a negative impact on explosiveness, or it could have a negative impact on technique. We're spending too much time in the weight room. And I think that's often where a lot of fighters will be hesitant to go in the weight room. They think they're gonna have like a struggle with endurance, or they'll think they'll have a struggle with impacting their explosiveness or taking away from their technique work. Now, I think that those are just games that you have to play, and you have to sort of depend on when you're going to have your next fight. And one thing here with Tom, even if you're looking at this past weekend's fight when he had the eye poke, a lot of people were wondering, like, he did look just a little sluggish early on. The sluggishness could have been, he had, I think it was about 16 to 17 months of a layoff. So that long layoff could have been the result of the sluggishness, and things like this, like going out and doing collabs, and he would have more time further away from a big competition, from a big fight, to do some ridiculous training. Not to say that this is bad, but I don't think it's necessarily going to make him the greatest fighter ever by doing an incline chest press on a machine. Now, I'm saying that I also don't think machines are that bad for fighters. I think it could be good. So that's some different stuff that I wanted to touch on. So he's doing some he's just doing like classic bodybuilding stuff here with Eddie Hall. And I think that's important to realize, like, yo, sometimes it's not that bad to do some type of bodybuilding work. Now, I want to get into the next video. He's getting into some full body work here. And this is where we're going to start to see, he just got done fighting me
and Zach, we just trained MMA for an hour and a half upstairs. Look.
Hour and a half of MMA work. So his split here, he's showing after he does his MMA, he's getting in the gym. So he's doing some easy push-ups, right? Now we know how strong his triceps are. We know how strong his shoulders are. We know how strong his pecs are based off of what he pulled or what he benched there with the dumbbell incline bench. Will the dumbbell incline bench help his push-ups? Yes, you better believe it. Also, I believe that dumbbell incline bench, if you're still doing contrast work, you're doing explosive work, I think one of the most important parts with fighters is to get them to do explosive push-ups to boxes, a target. That's when they're going to recruit really, really quickly. Okay, so those are things that are really, really important with striking ability, with being able to put a lot of force from your fist into somebody's face. So I think that...
So I'm not going to go like chest to the floor. So I'll get as deep as I can without it swinging my shoulders.
So his shoulder's a little tweaky right there.
Let's go. Got it?
Okay, so he puts a 25 on, gets pretty deep, good range of motion, good for stability. I always think pressing with a plate like this, push-ups with a plate, is great because there's minimal shakiness, so you're not going all over the place.
I'll just hold it on top so it doesn't go off. 1, 2, 3.
So I think one of the most underrated things is push-ups with plates, is push-ups, explosive push-ups. You know, somebody like Alex Rhodes, who's a 3-time Olympian, we're using push-ups still. You know, dude's 33 years old, one of the best discus throwers in the history of the world, still using that. 50K, that's pretty good. I think one of the big things they'll say is, what is it? It's 80% of your weight is usually what you feel. So let's say he's 120. So he's feeling about 100 kilos, or about 150 kilos.
Too much pressure on my shoulder joint, so I'm going like decent range, and then.
Now, being a fighter, I think you will have a lot more stress on the shoulders.
Go on.
As a fighter, this dude's not nearly as strong.
Go on. Go on.
I think the big thing too, somebody like Tom, the strength of this dude, it's really, really important as a heavyweight to be freaking strong.
Like, doing press-ups is really tough. I think a lot of people, especially like MMA fighters and that, they throw a lot of weights around, which you definitely have to do weights to strength and conditioning, but you've got to remember you're pulling and pushing other people around, so you need to be able to move yourself as well. And I think personally, bodyweight stuff that's where the real strength comes from.
So it's interesting, he's literally echoing, and this is a dude who's a heavyweight, and one of the things, if when Gwiz was training with us, Gwiz got to the point where he could hit 15 to 20 pull-ups easy, and that's a dude weighing 265. Okay, those things are important. Clap push-ups. 15 to 20 straight reps, clap push-ups is important. So, what is he putting on here now? 75. Remember we talked about his shoulder. It's maybe just a hair past 90 degrees. Joel Seaman will be pissed. It's a triple. And remember, guys, this is what he's doing after he just had fight practice. Oh, shit, he's going even heavier here.
Oh, fuck me. I'm just going to start like that.
And like the strength also in his trunk to handle this is pretty freaking tough. And the grip, grabbing 100 kilos on a push-up. The grip here, holding onto the boxes so the boxes don't slide. Dies. Yo, this is awesome. Oh shit. This is hilarious. Dude, this edit is amazing. I love that edit. Good eccentric, Tom. Okay, now we're getting into, let's see. Public Gym's got the...
Just failed at press-ups.
Yeah, failed what?
Tried to get 100 kilo on my back with one.
What?
What happened? What? It wasn't happening today. Not today.
I can't remember if that's his dad or not. I gotta...
In all honesty, I'm not very experienced on this, but I know...
He's tight with his pop. Dad was a old school fighter. Grew, basically like, if I remember correctly, his dad was early in the range of BJJ, taught BJJ back in the day. So he's got some really good experience, good relationship with his dad.
We're doing like a bit more of an all over body one.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. Viking press. I've always felt like this is a great lift for O linemen, for fighters as well.
We get on. This is news to me. I've never done. Well, I've repped on it before, but I've never seen how heavy I can go on it. So
really, he's basically trying to see how strong he is on just some different lifts. I think with the Viking, it's like a quarter squat with a big drive. Quarter squat, big drive.
That's a 20. Right, so.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a Viking press machine. There you go. He's got a little jerk in there. Yeah, at the top, he comes back down just a little.
It's quite heavy, that. Yeah, that's pretty. It's quite a lot of weight. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure what does that weigh?
He's saying 10 kilos.
It's got me more than 10 kilos. Right, go on. Give it a whirl. That's heavy.
My body weight.
This dude's 80K.
Whoa! No, you're not having it. So what's your weight? So that, just the weights, 40 that side, 40 that side, are equivalent to Zach's body weight. So, like I say, with the machine, that's got to be 30, 40 kilo at least.
I was gonna say probably 30 kilos.
It's a lot of weight. What do you reckon, Zach? Extra 10 aside.
Okay, so they're going to 100.
Right, so we've got, what have we got here aside? There we have it. So that weighs 50 kilos. 50 kilos that side. 50 kilos that side. So
150.
150 kilos. So I'm quite intimidated now. So 150 kilos, we're going to try it for 3 reps. 150 kilo.
That dude in the back is freaking tall too, jeez. I wanted to point out, actually, so if you check this out, watch how he does that little drop in. This is, and this is where you can see in a fighter or if you're a wrestler, in the gym, if someone needs to be more dynamic as a coach, right? You're watching, and if you see someone drop in, okay, they drop in like this, they know how to use a counter movement, and that's something that if they know how to do that, you can use that really well in a fight. If they don't do this, like he does, he's clearly athletic here. He's setting himself up with this counter movement, okay? It's something that a lot of younger athletes and athletes that aren't as coordinated, they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to change that level, change a level and then drive, and change a level, apply force. So pay attention to that because it's like a little cheat code on it.
Up. Up.
150K, good drive, good. And I think too, what you see with Tom is he's not super hypertrophic, but he's freaking strong. 150K on something like this, 330 pounds.
Viking press.
And he's got to hold his trunk the whole way through.
Lift it. Just a straight lift. Yeah, good, yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one here. Now, this is a big one because I think out of all the lifts that we'll hit, rope climbs, chin-ups, neutral grip pull-ups, I think neutral grip pull-ups and rope climbs, I've always liked rope climbs for fighters because it helps you get heavy on someone's head. It helps you with your grip. One thing I've seen with Tom is that he does like to use the suicide. I didn't notice there. I didn't pay attention there. He does like to use suicide quite a bit with his grip. I would alter. I would go suicide. I'd go piss. I would try and change things up. I would literally change his grip even with, I'd put towels on in this case. And we're just seeing this glimpse here on this specific video. He's loaded up, weighted. Remember, this is about how heavy he can pull. How strong is he? He's got 10K on. He's a heavier dude. Guys, fighters, wrestlers, boxers. This dude's huge. There's no reason for you to not be busting out pull-ups all the freaking time. Like, genuinely. If there's anything that you want to do as a fighter, get the aerobic capacity up. Make sure you can hit 20 plus pull-ups. Make sure you can get 30 plus dips. Make sure you can do 20 to 30 clap push-ups at once. Make sure you can do 50 normal push-ups at once. This dude's got, for how small he is, really wide on the grip.
Decision to do quite a big jump, so we're going to go. Zach, this one here, we're going to go 25 kilos we're going. And it's a lot of weight. It's no joke. I'm not sure if I can do it, to be honest, but we'll try.
So I think 55 pounds. Our gym record, I think, is 130 for a triple on chin-ups.
God.
I think once you get up over 60 pounds, you're very strong with the pull-up. Very.
Right, we're in. We got it. Big weight on here. Big weight on.
I don't really like how that's set up with the wall there. That stuff always just freaks me out. Good pause, rip, 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 good. Good, triple. I think he could hit another 10K.
Do you reckon? Bit more in the tank. Even holding it like that's heavy.
This dude's destroyed. Look at that dude in the back. There's an old guy in the back, just probably sauced to the gills.
Go on. Oh.
So great pulling strength here. That's a huge part. Remember, these are all important aspects around training. Clearly, one of the best fighters. I think he's number 4 pound for pound on the world ranking list, right? Okay, he's got more. He's gonna go for more. 45K. He jumped 20 kilos here. So we've got 100 pounds. Maybe a little short with the chin. Still good pull though.
Full. That's my 3 rep max, 45 kilos. That's really heavy. Right, let's get this off. Can't breathe.
Let's get this off. So 45 kilos. Now, there's one more video I want to react to here where we're going to look at quick. And I think that this last one is where you're going to start to see more of his athleticism. Okay, you're going to start to see more of his capability, what he can do. And I think that's one of the big things that what we do inside of our strength training at Peak Strength is when we're training a combat athlete. Okay, so if you're a combat athlete, if you're a wrestler, a boxer, judo, BJJ, you're someone, okay, that is gonna be involved with grappling. You're gonna be doing things over a long period of time. We build out our strength training program thinking about getting you in a good aerobic base, getting you as explosive as possible, and having that strength that you need. A lot of you guys as combat athletes need more relative strength. Okay, so that's how we build out that system to help you guys be better out on the mat, be better in the cage, better inside the ring. Click the first link down in the description. Head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store, and get inside your specific sport. Are you in BJJ? Are you in judo? Are you in wrestling? Click whatever your sport is and start your training today. Okay, let's get back to this video with Tom Aspinall. Some simple stuff here. He's getting through his training.
Biggest fight in MMA at the moment.
And you wanted to make a little promise to the fans.
Here we go. Thumbs.
Just play around with his leg and his balance. You don't have to trip it. If you want to do, you can shorten the distance and go right in. You know he's going to fall up.
So remember guys, there's a lot of technical work here. A lot of technical work. Fighting is it's the sweet science. Boxing is a sweet science for a reason. There's so much technique work that goes into this. So when we think about strength training, we have to think about positions, but we also have to think through, will the strength work that we're doing, or will the explosive work that we're doing, or will the jumps, is that gonna help us execute technique better? That's the whole purpose. That's everything that we're trying to do right here. Okay, so that's the big factor that we wanna look at. Okay, so let's get into getting into training here. This guy's Eddie Hall shirt on, loosen up his shoulders, making sure his shoulders feel good. Now, this is where we see the most athletic UFC heavyweight doing some work. Now, he's doing a power clean there into basically like a power jerk. Okay, I would call that a power jerk, not a push press. Now, I'm going to criticize some technique stuff. If I was training Tom, what I would focus on here, one, I don't mind the suicide grip here. I think that's fine on something like this. I would also teach him a hook, and I would teach him even without the suicide grip. If I was teaching how to clean, the one thing I wanted to bring up right here is having a little bit more tension in his lats and his lower back, less arm bend here. So let the big muscles take over. I think, now I know he's not a fighter, or he's definitely a fighter. I know he's not a weightlifter, but I think it's important because someone like Tom is so technically minded, right? He's in one of the most technical sports on the planet. He knows how to learn technique. So he could learn this pretty quickly. So Tom, hit me up if you want to do a collab, and I'll teach you how to clean, and we can improve that clean technique. Now, here, his knees aren't bad, but he's got to be tighter in the back, tighter in the lats, a little bit longer in the arms, and then we want to see him make contact earlier. So we want to see the bar make contact right about here on his quads. Okay, so that's like the one thing I did want to point out. I love the fact that he's taken this lift, like a power clean into a power jerk, and it's essentially like his Viking press. Okay, so he's doing similar movements here. There, right there, I would want longer arms here, and I would actually want the hips under earlier. So his hips will have to be reactive, and that's the big thing that a lot of people will be like, oh, do you really need to learn your technique? I can teach you technique where your hips and your hamstrings will react quicker. And if your hips can extend faster with this technique, that's going to transfer to the technique in the ring or in the cage. The quicker you are with the hips coming through to the bar, the quicker you could potentially be when you're throwing a kick, when you're jumping, when you're getting out of position, right? When you're trying to move. So the hip extension at a very, very high pace matters in fighting. And so we should be teaching that in the weight room. I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. I think this is great. I just think there's some things that you can get out of that. And then here on the dip and drive, I go a little bit more vertical, but still, this is a great lift, great movement pattern. Like right there, his knees are back too long. We want to see the hips come through. Load the hamstrings a little bit more. Keep that back tighter. Good drive. I would even say maybe, and this is also related to, because he's talked about his shoulder issues. That's where I wanted to bring that up as far as that technical aspect. I think this is the thing, is that he tends to do some really, really good stuff. You know, he's squatting to target with the sandbag. This I wanted to point out too is another great one, because I think when you're doing pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, great isometric work at the top. Okay, so if you're in the clinch, you're trying to fight through a position, that's a big aspect on fighting. It's you have to hold these different positions for a longer period of time, all while he's squeezing through his knees with the ball that's in there. So this is a really, really good example of what dynamic fight training can do. He's got a 15K ball, plus a chain.
30 kilo chain.
That's great right there. That's freaking awesome. Absolutely. Holding that, good for the core as well. Very good for the core. Okay, so these are all absolutely fantastic things. And it looks like he's finishing off with just some higher rep dip work. Nice Rottweiler mix. Good on the dips there. Got a shaky dip thing, just like we do. Some good abs. And now he's getting some endurance work in. So, honestly, even here hanging is like, that's good grip work.
Cheers, mate. So he's got a fight coming up.
Is he the most athletic UFC heavyweight right now? He might be. Okay, he very well might be. In the history of the sport, you can look at someone like Aspinall, you can look at someone like Lesnar, you can look at John Jones. At times he has come up, right? So we can think through that lens when we're thinking about the most athletic fighters. When we think about fight-based training, okay, we have to think through the lens of how can we improve. How can we be, so if we're going to train resistance training, how can we improve the work in the ring? How can we improve the performance with technique? That's really, really important when we're thinking through the lens of training. Tom Aspinall's an absolute beast. I want to see him come back. I want to see that next fight after this poke, after hopefully his eye heals as well as it possibly can. And I wish him the best on his recovery from that eye poke. If you guys want more content like this, click on this card right here. If this is the first time that you've been to the channel, make sure that you click subscribe to this channel, because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.